What's going on, guys? This is Kaishiro. Welcome back. We are back with another video of Uncrowned King's local metagame report that will cover tournament results and decklist reviews. For the past 2 weeks, we have January 8 to January 27. So these topping decks are before Lede or the Legacy of Destruction. So this will be the final hurrah of these decks before the introduction of Lede on our format. So without further much ado, let's start. We have headquarters, hobbies, and card games here. At first here we have Fire King, Snake Eyes, Sinful Spoils. So a pretty standard list of Fire King, no? It plays Veiler and Imperm over the likes of Nibiru and Droll because these cards are much more flexible and versatile on tournament landscape where there's a lot of rogue decks and other meta-relevant decks on the format aside from the best decks. So Veiler and Imperm can be really insane on format where there's a lot of viable decks because you need to have a lot of knowledge on the choke points of many decks on the format, and Veiler and Imperms can be very handy if you know how to interact against those decks and you know when to use the Veiler and Imperms. So I really do agree with this one. And moving on, we have Snake Eyes and Sinful Spoils. So this is a very standard list of Snake Eyes and nothing too extravagant on the main deck. It plays Nibiru, over something like Veiler, only one copy of Veiler. And on the side deck, it's where the spice comes from. It plays Lava Golem, Kurikara, and Kaiju. Starting off first with Lava Golem. I think Lava Golem should be fine here, but it can really backfire you, especially when you cannot draw the Witch and Bonfire, where you need to commit your normal summon. So yeah, it can really backfire against you. But Lava Golem can be helpful to eradicate problematic boards on the format. We still have Pendulum Magician or the Supreme King, Z-Arc Magician, which can end up on multiple negations and boss monsters. So Lava Golem can be good against that, and also the Snake Eyes and Fire King's matchup can be stuttered by Lava Golem as well. And moving on, we have Kurikara. So this is a more sensible take on this list. You can really benefit from Kurikara because it is level 1 fire, of course. It is really searchable by Bonfire, I assume. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Kurikara is much more versatile than Lava Golem because you don't need to commit your normal summon on this Kurikara. But on the contrary, you need to consume all of the effects of your opponent's monsters on the field, and also Kaiju, -1 and replacement of boss monsters of your opponent for this Sea Turtle Kaiju. So yeah, I think it's really a nice inclusion as well on the side deck. Next here we have Labyrinth, a more trap-oriented version of Labyrinth. We have 3 Daruma Cannon and 2 Ice Dragon Prison and 2 Trap Trick as well. So one interesting innovation of Labyrinth right now is the transaction rollback. Some players on Japan are not playing transaction rollback as they used to be. They are trimming the copies of rollback into 1 or sometimes 2, but I often see 1. And also the world champion of 2019, Kukui Kosaka, posted his Labyrinth deck profile that doesn't even run the rollback anymore. So it will be a interesting advancement for Labyrinth, whether they will play rollback or not. It is up to them, but it is interesting innovation for the Labyrinth right now. Next we have Centurion Super Heavy Samurai. So this list is very good. I think it can really go first because it can set up Barone from the Super Heavy Samurai and the Blazer Dragon from the Centurion line of play. And also it has a lot of rooms for hand traps like Nibiru, Veiler, Ghost Bell, Ogre, and even the Gamma package are available here. So you are pretty much guaranteed to have answers when losing the die roll on this deck. And also I think the Centurion has problems on going second, but with the plethora of hand traps they have on this list, it can really cure their abysmal going second potential. And also on the side deck, it's very notable that he plays Mistake and Soul Drain. I think Mistake is very strong on the format right now, especially if your deck can play around it, because Mistake can shut down Fire King, Snake Eyes, Voiceless Voice, and other decks on the format like Purely. And yeah, I think most decks on the format dies from Mistake. So I think this is a very positive note on this side deck. Moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Davao, Mindanao Gaming Ranking Tournament. At first here we have Prime Crew, Snake Eyes, Sinful Spoils. So wow, just wow. This is a list that doesn't run Bonfire. So this is a budget-oriented build from crews that are not playing the Bonfire package on this list. Instead, he plays 1 for 1 and Word Art Dough. So these two cards can help him bolster his consistency from the not inclusion of Bonfire. I think it's really a good budget option. I think this list is a very nice list to use as a reference for players who wants to play Snake Eyes on a budget version, because it is really understandable. Bonfire is really expensive. It is worth months of groceries already on OCG, and also on TCG as well. It is very expensive. So yeah, I think I really understand the people, especially like me, who doesn't really have enough budget to use on cards or authentic cards on the OCG. So yeah, I think playing it on budget is not a problem. It can hurt your consistency and ceiling, but I think if you want to look for ways that you can play the deck, I think you should find ways for it. And next we have Runic. So this is a very interesting list of Runic. It plays Amano Iwato and Salesban on the main deck. This is very disgusting if you can draw the Amano Iwato and Salesban. It is pretty much FTK for a lot of occasions, because most decks doesn't have play arounds against that. And also Runic being a stand deck and control deck is also an evergreen status of the deck, and I think it will not go away eventually unless they hit the demise. I think if they hit the demise into 1, it will hurt the consistency of this deck, but if they're trying to hit the floodgates, Runic can just overcome it by adapting more strategies on the deck to play more other floodgate cards like here Messenger of Peace and also Amano Iwato and Salesman. Moving on, we have Nova Card Store. At first we have Snake Eyes, Parking, Sinful Spoils. So a standard list, I think, plays triple Ash, Maxi, Imperm Veiler, and I think it's very worth noting that he plays Cosmic Cyclone on the main deck. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, Cosmic Cyclone on main deck is very underrated for me. I think it can really shut down the Fire King matchup as well, and really good against things like Fluanderies and stuff like Voiceless Voice. So Cosmic Cyclone can be really strong here on the main deck, and I myself are experimenting on playing Cosmic Cyclone on the main deck for a lot of decks on the format right now. So I think this will be a very interesting take on main deck inclusion of Cosmic Cyclone. Next we have Snake Eyes. So it is already the third Snake Eyes and fourth Fire Kings already on our list so far. So it also says a lot on our format, because our format are dominated by the Snake Eyes and Fire Kings decks on the recent metagame trend right now, and it will not go away because the ban list is very far from now, and only Voiceless Voice are trying to compete on the tier 1 status of those Fire Kings and Snake Eyes decks right now before Lede. But after Lede, it will be a very different story, because Voiceless Voice will get their new support from the Lede, and it will be a different story. But for now, I think Snake Eyes and Fire Kings are very powerful decks on the format, and yeah, I think it will continue that way. Next we have Arcanium Hobbies. I think it's a mixture of OCG and Asian English tops. Here, first we have Asian English Purely of Omar, I think. Yeah. Second place, Purely. We have Dark World. I'm not really too sure if we have AE Dark World, but yeah, I think it's from AE format because the decklist is really not standardized. We are lacking a lot of cards from the Asian English card pool, because the RCO4 of Asian English are just recently released, and most players doesn't have the cards yet. And also Asian English cards are very expensive as well for us in the OCG region, so most players are still playing in a subpar manner or incomplete deck list. Like here, he has only one side deck card and his extra deck is still not complete. So it is very understandable because Asians, especially in the Southeast Asia region, are not that really what do you call this, rich in a sense, because we cannot afford everything on this Asian English version yet. But it is very nice to have Asian English format in our C region, because now we have cards that we can read. Of course, we cannot understand Nihongo or Japanese, so we must find cards that we can read to save time from searching card text or card effects. And also, Asian English feels much more better because you can read your own cards finally. Next, we have, I think this is from the OCG, Salamangreat. So, yeah, it plays the EMP and the Code of Soul on this main deck. I think those cards can be very good extenders. And also, Salamangreat is being Salamangreat again because they have received more supports, and also the Promethean is very insane for the Salamangreat. And also, it is very terrifying to face Salamangreat because they have the cards like Anti-Spell and the Kaiser Colosseum, which can be an FTK to you when they can draw these cards and floodgates you to death on this Salamangreat list. Next, we have another purely AE, I think, yeah. It has the runic package, very interesting, and the spellbook package as well. And also plays the fire attacker and the impulse. So this helps you to draw cards and make your deck more consistent. So this is a very interesting list of purely from the AE. Next, we have the first place purely of that AE format. So it plays both Moon and Forbidden Chalice on the main deck. So it's very understandable because this format doesn't have a lot of hand traps already on the format. The Asian English format lacks a lot of cards like Ash Blossom and Maxi on this date, but after the RCO4 it will be a different story. But for now, yeah. Next, we have Order of the Duelist in Albay. Shoutouts to them, our Albay friends on this tournament. At first here, we have first runner-up San Avalon Rika, I think, yeah. And this is a very standard list of Rika, I assume. And Rika is a deck that can be rogue status forever, to be honest. And that's why that is the main reason why TCG have hit the Rika on their ban list, because most players are just settling on Rika and playing this deck forever. And I think Konami wants them to buy new decks or other cards on the newer sets so they can play newer decks and they can of course gain profit from that. But on the OCG, it's very different. Rika are much free because we have Maxi. We have a card that literally stumps them, and I think it's a very huge factor on the survivability of Rika right now. And also Rika can be innovated as well post-Lede with the introduction of Raika that can be good support of plants on this list. So yeah. Now we have champions of the tournament. We have Salamangreat. So another Salamangreat. So it proves to be Salamangreat is a very nice option right now to play on the format. And also this deck does have a lot of plays. It can comfortably go first with interruptions of the Roar and Rage, and also the Promethean on the graveyard with Raging Phoenix. And also it can easily OTK when going second. So this is a very versatile deck right now on the format. Next, we have second runner-up, Purely. So Purely as well is a evergreen deck on the format. We have Purely for like 3-4 formats already, even 5, I guess. So yeah, Purely has been here for a lot of times already, and we cannot doubt the deck anymore. And this deck proves to be a very solid option, and this deck also has a good survivability to conquer and adapt on most formats. Next, we have Fighting Tri-Brigade from Nino Angelo. So yeah, as a Tri-Brigade user, I really applaud this topping list. This is a very nice deck list. It doesn't play Bonfire on this list. Instead, it plays a lot of Fire King cards on the deck. Triple Runix, triple Kirin, double Arvata, and also triple Chicken Phoenix. So yeah, this is a very interesting list of Tri Brigade. And moving on, we have Dueling Nexus ranking tournament. At first, we have Voiceless Voice, standard version of Voiceless Voice, but this time it doesn't play the Diviner package. Instead, it plays the Nadir and the Shadal Schism on the main deck to make Winda and Floodgate your opponent, of course. And it is very powerful when you can go first and establish a Winda. It also seals the victory for you already when you can establish Winda with Skull Guardian and Novox on the field. It's pretty much guaranteed that you can win the game. Next, we have Fire King, Snake Eyes, of course. It plays Super Poly on the main deck. I think Super Poly has been going on and off on the main deck or side deck of many people. Most people are not encouraged to play Super Poly because most people on top table knows how to play against Super Poly. They know how to create a board where it doesn't lose against Super Poly. So you need to be mindful of that. Most players are avoiding Super Poly at all costs because it is a card that cannot be responded to and very destructive as always. So yeah, but nonetheless, Super Poly is still a threat right now on the format. So I really agree with the inclusion of Super Poly on the side deck. Next, we have Numerelia, with Small World, and there's a lot of hand drops on this list. I'm not really too sure on how to deck build Numerelia properly, but it has a lot of stun guards like Border, and also a lot of hand drops like the Nibiru and Shifter, and also the rank 10 package of trains or the tanks on the extra deck as well because they have been level 10s. And next, we have, I don't know the name of this deck. Oh, Raid Raptor, yeah. Raid Raptor. So this deck also got support from Phantom Nightmare, and this deck got better as well. The problem of this deck is, of course, Maxi, because you tend to special summon a lot of times. But if this deck cannot can play around Maxi and your opponent doesn't have Maxi to bail you out, I think this will be a very terrifying combo deck that can go first and overwhelm a lot of opponents on the format right now. Next, we have Duelo Iloilo Yu-Gi-Oh! Association ranking tournament. At first, we have Salamangreat, so I think it's the third or fourth Salamangreat already on this list. So we do have a lot of Salamangreat on our metagame report this time. And yeah, pretty standard list of Salamangreat, nothing too extravagant, just the right amount of hand trap and the correct ratios of consistency cards like Signet Mining and the EMP and Code of Soul. Next, we have Exo Sister. So this also got traction from the most recent format because we now have a graveyard reliant format, so Exo Sister can shine on that format because it lacks the graveyard, and this deck is very good against graveyard centric decks. So it is no surprise that Exo can be a very good deck right now. Next, we have Fluandris with Pachi on the main deck. So insane, very insane when this can go first and set up Empen and Pachi. It is pretty much game over for most decks on the format. And also playing Nadir Servant on the main deck and Dogmatic Punishment from the Ecclesia. So it can be good on going second because Nadir can pitch things like NTs, and Garura can give you draw 1, and also Ecclesia can be your extra normal summon off from Empen, establishing Dogmatic Punishment. So you have extra interruptions for your going first. So this is a very sensible list from Wingcat Diana. Next, we have Grand Magistan. Wow, really insane from Jan Alfred Go. What a madman. He plays Grand Maju in this 2024. Imagine that. So this stand deck keeps on really irritating people because most people doesn't really anticipate this kind of deck, and this deck can surprise them, of course, if they don't really play around the cards of Grand Maju and they don't expect the instant OTK of Grand Maju. They can get overwhelmed by this deck on a lot of occasions. So this is a very interesting list from John Alfred Go. We have fifth, we have Unchained. So this is a very TCG-esque Unchained deck build with the DDD package and also the trust on the main deck. And one notable aspect of Unchained is now they have Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm can be really powerful on this Unchained. It can pop your cards off and gain card advantages from the Heavy Storm, and also Heavy Storm can destroy back row from the decks like Rescue Ace and other back row decks like the Grand Maju earlier. So on the Philippines, back row decks are pretty much the bread and butter of most people. So you are really going to prepare hard against this type of back row decks on the Philippines metagame. Next we have Fire King Snake Eyes. So yeah, from Spencer Jones Go. So on the side deck it plays also Lava Golem, no? Because yeah, I think he doesn't really commit his normal summon that much on this deck. So he is pretty much fine to play Lava Golem on certain occasions. And yeah, Dark Ruler No More can be really nifty at times here, because Dark Ruler No More can help you bail out games against heavy negation decks like Z-Arc Magician. Next we have Meta Bitsy. Look at what I'm trying to say. In the Philippines, you are not safe from the stun decks and back row decks. We have Jerome David Chan, anti-meta 7th place deck. So it plays the Border and Patchy and the Ryo. Nothing too extravagant, but really cancerous to look at and very irritating to play against, of course, when you don't have answers to this type of decks. And next we have 8th place Mechanico with Assault package. Very interesting. It can combo off, I guess, and can set up at least Apollousa and Barone. And moving on, we have another Yu-Gi-Oh! Davao Mindanao ranking tournament, 18th season grand final. So it will be a very different tournament from their usual ranking tournament. Our first place we have Vivo Milo Krame Blackwing. Wow, Blackwing, really insane. Most people are not really inclined on playing Blackwing because the deck is kinda expensive as well, and also the deck is really hard to play. I think you end up on subpar boards sometimes, and also your going second is not that great on certain occasions as well. So you need to rely on technical skills and understanding of your opponent's interactions on this list. So I really give props to this Vivo Milo Krame for taking Blackwings to a first place finish on this tournament. And next we have Fluandris from Vince Paulo Dagala. So yeah, this time it doesn't play Patchy on the deck or even side deck, just the standard usual Flandris with hand traps, and it plays Dark Ruler No More on the main deck as well, which can be good against Flandris. And also you don't really have the space to play Droplet on this list. I think Dark Ruler No More can be much more essential than Droplet on this Fluandris. Next we have top 4 Voiceless Voice. So this is before Lede, so it doesn't have the new continuous spell and the new ritual, but this is a standard list of VV or Voiceless Voice. It plays Extravagance on the main deck to bait out Ash Blossoms, because Ash on Saphira is really prominent and insane. It can literally end the turn of Voiceless Voice on most occasions. So yeah, I think I really do agree playing Extravagance on the main deck. And moving on, we have another top 4 here. We have Fire King Snake Eye Sinful. So we have standard deck list of Fire King, plays Talents and 2 Nibiru on the main deck. So moving on, we have another Duelo Iloilo ranking tournament. So yeah, this time we have a first place Swami Fox, Fire King Snake Eyes. So 2 Bonfire only, I think it can be fine, but I would rather see the third copy of Bonfire over things like hand traps. And yeah, I think Bonfire is really insane card right now, and I'm not too sure if Bonfire can be available on the next formats, because it is a ban-worthy card so far on this Fire King Snake Eyes. And then next we have Unchained second place. I think it's the same list from earlier, just few adjustments I think. So yeah, I placed the Ruma Cannon on the side deck, very TCG oriented inclusion on the side deck. And moving on, next we have Silent Force with Voiceless Voice rather, with Super Heavy Samurai. So, a much more combo-oriented voiceless voice. It plays a lot of Omni Negates, no? You can set up Barone easily, and you can also go into Appaloosa with, on top of that, you have Skull Guardian and Novox. So, this is a very powerful deck that can go first. Imagine that if you can set up this board, I think it's very difficult to break it. Next, we have Luandris from Winter Diana. I think it's the same list from earlier. Yeah. Now we have 5th place, Rika San Avalon. So, second Rika on our tournament reviews. So, yeah, I think Rika is a very decent rogue deck option right now. And if you're looking for a deck to play and you want to go rogue and avoid all of those tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 meta decks, I think Rika San Avalon is a very good deck for you to pick up. Next, we have Reptile. Wow. What is this? To be honest, I'm lost for words. I cannot comprehend how to analyze this deck, and I'm not really too sure on how this deck functions. I think it has cards of Ogdoadic and Ogdoadic, of course, and other kaijus and Nibiru. Very insane. This is a Madman from Michelangelo Gloria, and the side deck as well is very weird and unusual. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting list to look upon post-Lede, because the reptiles can get the support from Raika, and it will make their deck more better post-Lede. And another 7th place, Silent Force or Voiceless Voice. Standard version of Voiceless Voice. It plays Prosperity on the main deck. And next we have Ritual Beast 8th place from Patrick Orsua. So yeah, this is a very powerful deck as well on the Philippines metagame right now, and most people are not really knowledgeable on the choke points of Ritual Beast, and most of them cannot really stop the combos of Ritual Beast, and Ritual Beast can overwhelm you if you cannot stop them. If you cannot draw things like Maxi and Lancea and Nibiru, it will be very difficult for you to answer this deck. Then moving on, we have Headquarters, Hobbies, and Card Games once again. First here we have Vanquish Shoal. So standard list of Vanquish Shoal, it plays there can be only one on the side deck, which can be very helpful when you can go first and stun the opponent, as well as Super Poly, because you have a lot of rooms on the extra deck. So playing Garura and Madragon is very easy on this list. Next we have Super Heavy Samurai Centurion. I think it's the same list from earlier. No, it's different. Yeah, it plays a couple of different cards on this list. It plays Denko Seka and Prohibition niya. So you can call Droll, Nibiru, or any cards that can stop you from playing the game. This is very insane. Oh, it has Ice Barrier Engine as well. Wow, very interesting. So yeah, it also plays Nemesis, no? Very wild list of Centurion SHS. Next we have Live Twin True Draco. Oh my god, what is this? Live Twin True Draco. I think my brain stopped working, to be honest. I don't know how this deck functions. Maybe you set up a very powerful going first deck. We have the True Draco control and the shenanigans from the Evil Twin, the draw, the plus, the destroy. I think that's about it, yeah. And it's really interesting to see this kind of deck tapping on this tournament from Indonesia, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Next we have Rescue A, Sinful Spoils, Snake Eyes. So yeah, standard, it plays Reinforce on the side deck and on the main deck as well. So he plays double Reinforce, no? Wow, he really loves the card, I guess. And also plays a lot of hand traps on the side deck, Nibiru, Droll, Crow, and Vader, because you don't have much space on the main deck anymore when you incorporate Sinful and Snake Eyes on this Rescue Ace. Moving on, we have Iloilo, Yu-Gi-Oh! Association ranking tournament. We have Adamantipator, first place. Super Heavy Samurai, Adamantipator. So this is a very wild combo deck that can combo for days, and it can literally deck you out. I think it has a lot of lines and special summoning mechanics on this deck, and yeah, this is very explosive when it can go first, and most decks right now cannot go against the board of this deck. Just by looking at this, you have Dragite, we have Crystal Wing, and we have Barone and Arclight with IP and SP and Apollousa. Look at that. How are you going to destroy this board and stop this deck from playing? I think it's very hard to go against this deck. But on the same time, Maxi is very terrible against this deck. Next, we have Voiceless Voice. Second place. Standard version of Voiceless Voice. Nothing too extravagant. Plays Solemn Judgment on the side deck. I think it's a very interesting option because Summon Limit and Anti-Spell can backfire at some occasions against you. Especially Anti-Spell because you're running a lot of spell cards on this list. So Anti-Spell can hurt you as well when you cannot procure your board and set up Anti-Spell in a winnable game position. So yeah, I think Judgment can be better on some occasions on this Voiceless Voice. Next, we have Oasis Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. First here we have Infernoble Knight. So yeah, another disgusting combo deck that can set up billion of negates, and also a lot of lines as well on this deck are very complex. So it's really hard to stop this deck. You want to consider ashing on Museum and the Durendal, rather the, I forgot the name of the Infernoble Knight, and also of course the Link 2 of Infernoble. So this is a very hard deck to stop, and most of the time you need to rely on Maxi and Nibiru and Droll to stop this deck from playing. Next, we have Snake Eyes, Sinful. So standard version as well. More hand traps as well on the main deck. 2 Nibs, 1 Veiler, and 2 Imperm. And also it plays the Jet Synchron with the Synchron package on the extra deck with Borrel Load, Formula Synchron, and Barone. And yeah, moving on, we have Order of the Duelist in Albay Tournament. First here we have Voiceless Voice, standard version of Voiceless Voice, I think. It plays Called By on the main deck, I think. Yeah, Called By on the main deck. And also it plays the Perfection. Wow. So it plays the Benten and Perfection and the other ritual spell. So this is like a mini version of Drytron, no? From Mishal. So yeah, this is a very interesting. Next we have Ninja Dogmatica. Wow. It's been a long time since I have seen a topping list of Ninja, and now they are back with Dogmatica. So I think it helps their going second on this list. Even though Ninja has a good going second for me, I think they have a decent going second. I think Nadir and Nadir can really supplement that and elevate their going second potential. And also Maximus can really tear apart the extra deck of many opponents if they cannot stop this Ninja from snowballing out of control. And yeah, I think it's a really essential package on the deck to play around. Next we have Girl Joshua, Ice Barriers. So this time it doesn't play the Swap Frag, no. I think most people are playing Swap Frag on Ice Barrier. I think it's the correct version of playing Ice Barrier if I'm not mistaken. It plays the Tinola and the Cradle of the Ice Jade. So yeah, I think it's a very different approach on Ice Barrier this time. Next we have Raid Raptor, Lunalight with Super Heavy Samurai, and yeah, I think it's a disgusting combo deck. And it has a lot of Kali Yuga on the extra deck. So lockdown niya, it really speaks volume on this list because it has lockdown. So a very interesting list once again from Albay. They never fail to amaze me on bringing out interesting decks over their locals. Next we have Ricky's Toys and Hobby Shop. I think it's the last list of our report. We have Voiceless Voice. Silent Force feels weird right now when TCG have come into a conclusion where they named the deck into Voiceless Voice, no? This time it plays Called By and Cross Out on the main deck. It's very rare, to be honest. Most Voiceless Voice players, including me, doesn't really fair playing Called By and Cross Out on the main deck because the deck really struggles on going second, and also it's not a issue to supplement your going first where you are already suffering from a very bad going second on this list. So yeah, I think he just focused on utility and providing his going first capacity on this deck. And moving on, we have another Labyrinth with Rumpeltufel. I forgot the name of the new name of Rumpeltufel right now. It's very bad and I cannot even remember it, to be honest. But yeah, Rumpeltufel on the main deck of Labyrinth here from Enrico. And also plays Extrav and Prosperity. So a more trap-oriented version of Labyrinth, no? And also plays one Arias only. And on the side deck, a bunch of different trap cards like the D-Barrier and different dimension grounds. Next, we have Trap Tricks from Wendrian. So, only 11 extra deck cards. So, I think it's a budget list of Trap Tricks considering the fact that he doesn't have Imperm. Yeah, he doesn't have Imperm and he doesn't have Ash Blossom. Only Maxi and Shifter that is available, always available in the OCG because Maxi is already on the structure deck of Trap Tricks. So, I assume this is a budget list of Trap Tricks. Next, we have another Silent Force or the Voiceless Voice. So, this time it plays Tactics Talent on the main deck. So, another card to supplement his going first and can be also useful when going second. When you can draw cards and steal your opponent's monsters away. So, I really like the fact that he plays Droplet on the side deck because the going second is very bad on this Voiceless Voice. So, Droplet can help you ease out your problems against negation type oriented boards on the format, and also evenly match. I think it's a saving grace for Voiceless Voice to use against control decks because you also struggle against control decks on this deck. This deck can be very fragile at times when you can answer the opponent's monsters and back row game. So yeah, evenly makes a lot of sense here. So yeah, that sums up our Uncrowned Kings local metagame report video. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you do learn something from this video. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm nearing 1K subs on this channel. So, I'm not I'm really excited to reach that milestone with you guys. So, once again, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.